He said that about 3 times. We're on the same team. So what does that look like? What does that mean? Or why, maybe we could hit some points, why is that so difficult? Why is it hard to be on the same team and to get along? So we've got a good cross-section of people here from different experiences, from different places. What are some traits or characteristics that repel us from each other working together? It can even be at a human, obviously we're trying to tie this into on a missional level, but I think it applies to just as human beings. What are some core traits, or what sets us off, that sets us apart?
Who wants to do things their own way?
To do things their own way. Personality types.
Conflicting ideals.
Conflicting ideas. Differences in cultures. Doesn't the gospel transcend these things? Glenn did a good job of laying the groundwork from that first chapter in Philippians. What does it mean to be in one spirit and one mind? Actually, that sentiment runs strong throughout the Bible, especially in the New Testament. That is brought up continually. Why do we struggle with that so much? So probably, to synthesize many of these points that were just mentioned, we could put it in one word, and it's self. Self-will. And it's my way, I've got the idea, I've got the direct channel with God, and it's unfortunate, the consequences that brings when we don't die to self, when we don't crucify ourselves and bear that cross for the benefit of Christ and one another. So this starts out, this is kind of a continuation of the talk we began yesterday. This is starting back in the Old Testament and building off of Ezra and Nehemiah and a couple of their contemporary prophets. We see a great model there on how they work together. I want to look at 5 people particularly. The 2 books of Ezra and Nehemiah is a beautiful combination. They were contemporaries of each other. And then we have the 3 minor prophets of Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi were contemporaries of these men also. We have a beautiful picture. Again, zooming in on Ezra and Nehemiah, Nehemiah is probably most famous or identifiable with, well, he's the builder. He's the guy that built the wall. He did it in pretty quick order, 52 days. Something very attractive. He could have hosted short-term mission teams because he built something and he did it quickly, and they could all feel good about themselves. But as we dive into the story and get the bigger picture, especially take in Ezra, put things in a graph or a chart here. That there was 3 distinct groups that returned back from the Babylonian captivity back to Jerusalem to rebuild, repair, renew, restore Jerusalem. We had Zerubbabel and Jeshua were the first group that came back, and their task that they were given was to physically rebuild the temple, to be preparing Jerusalem for the presence of God to come back and inhabit with them. They kind of stalled out in their work, and it took, God sent a couple prophets to come to kind of give them a kick in the butt and to motivate them and encourage them to finish their work. And it took a span of like 20 years to rebuild this temple after about 10 of it sitting idle. And we have the second return of Ezra came back with another group, and he was a priest, a scribe and a priest. And his specific task was to reestablish the worship in the completed temple. He got the Word of God, the law out, and he taught the people 14 years ahead of the return of Nehemiah.